First, let me introduce General Michael Jeffrey, in case there's anyone who's been asleep in Australia for the last 50 years or so. Michael is the former Governor of Western Australia and former Governor-General of Australia. He's a former Army officer who served in Malaya and Borneo, Papua New Guinea and Vietnam. General Jeffrey is currently Chairman of FDI, Outcomes Australia and Soils for Life. I said all these former things. In fact, he's probably more active today than he was in his previous lives. But because he clearly has too much spare time for golf and for fishing, the Prime Minister recently appointed him as the National Advocate for Soil Health, which is a passion of Michael's, and as the Australian Envoy for the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Trust. So to begin this morning's opening session, to kick-start everybody, would you please welcome the extremely busy Major General Michael Jeffrey.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Ray. It really is a tremendous pleasure to be with such a distinguished and long-established groups of nationally minded citizens who, through their individual and collective efforts, have made such sterling contributions to the well-being of Australia in all forms of public and private sector endeavour. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we come together to examine practical ways in which this association can further contribute to the prosperity of our nation. Australia, I would suggest, starts from a base of decided advantage. Given who we are and what we stand for, we can show an increasingly troubled world there is a way for many cultures and religions to live together in harmony, albeit in accordance with fundamental Australian values. Because the values that underpin a decent life universally, justice, tolerance and democracy, are part and parcel of our national ethos. I think we live in a land blessed with space and resources, with creative and hard-working people. Our institutions are generally strong, with checks and balances in place to keep them that way. We're genuinely multicultural and probably much the wiser and better country for it. We believe in enterprise, in having a go, and we believe in justice for all, meaning a fair go. It's these values and attributes, along with humour, the outback, Anzac and the Ashes, that have shaped our particular identity. But of course we face challenges that of themselves often have big opportunities. And it's on just a few of these that I wish to address my remaining remarks. I want to firstly talk about governance. I feel there is an ongoing public disquiet and concern on the lack of political, media, public service and academic definition, evaluation and debate on the significant issues of our times, and thus the lack of the essential longer-term strategies to deal with them. And the real problem I see is that so often we don't get our aim or objective right of what it is we want to do. If you get the aim wrong, then all the resources. I'd like to see far more public discussion and involvement, along with more bipartisan political agreement on key issues affecting the nation. Should major parties, both state and federal, agree on the broad directional focus on the big issues, for example on health, both regional and remote, terrorism, adapting to climate change, education, infrastructure, population, size and shape, food security, water and soil. And then the argument, I would suggest, should be over the details, the timing, the numbers, the budgets, etc. But let's at least aim for some continuity of focus on the big issues.